That's it. Hey guys, Charlie Verse here, and I'm going to show you 10 early game tips for Hytale. Starting with number one, you can craft stuff directly with your materials in the chest. Okay, so you go to your crafting bench, your workbench in this case, you open it up and you see you have a bunch of selections to items to craft, and to the right here you have the materials required. You will notice that they give you the quantities and what it does. You can also craft it based on how many do you want, based on the amounts you can actually do. But if you come here to something a little more advanced that requires other stuff, okay, when you open the workbench, you'll notice that you have a bunch of okay, when you open your okay, when you open your workbench, okay, when you open your workbench, you'll notice, for example, that you have all sorts of things too that you can craft, and then this is the materials that you have, the amount of materials that you had necessary to craft. You can actually just do one, do 10, or just do them all based on those materials. But sometimes you don't have everything in your inventory. However, this game is super smart and it allows you to craft directly from the chest. You see, this material is not in my inventory. I don't have any iron ingots here. However, it will show up as long as you're in the range of the chest, and it will craft it for you. So that's a really good advantage to have. It it really solves the problem of having a lot of stuff in your inventory, so you can just go ahead and store the things that you need for later, and it will work like a charm. Next. Okay, so tip number two, and it's raining currently. By the way, the skies are beautiful. So you notice that I have this arrangement here. This is to show you that one of the movement things that you eventually discover, but it can save you in a pinch, is that this game allows you to have all the way up to a 4-block climb. So regular blocks, you don't even have to jump them. The game is automatically set, so you can just like glide over it. You can still jump it, of course. 2 blocks, it won't you just not just you actually have to jump towards it, but it's no big deal. You just have to hold it for a little longer, the jump, and it will do it. When it's 3 blocks, it's already starting to climb. So you can actually see it with a little bit of animation over here. Hard to do, wait. There you go. So 3 blocks, the guy is climbing. Okay, 4 blocks. This is something that, wow, I wish we had it in other games, but this is a really nice implementation. And here we go. I have something on my offhand. Okay, so here we go, and jump. There you go. Unfortunately, not for 5 blocks though. It sort of makes sense given the size of our body, our avatar. It just won't do it. Another thing that's really interesting to me is that if you crouch, you can sneak about, and for 1 block you can actually fall off, which is kind of dangerous in the caves. However, if you're over 2 blocks and you're holding control, you can still remain on top of the block, which is very useful. So always remember, if you're just 1 block separated from the next, it's not going to work. So be careful when you're caving. Definitely you don't want to fall the face of a skeleton, okay? Now for tip number 3. Let's go down to the caves, and we're going to talk about the offhand. If you notice in the bottom left corner, there's another slot that's linked to the letter Z. This will allow us to go for our offhand, and if you hold it for a little bit, you'll see this wheel here. Obviously, I set it up for our torches and a shield that you acquire a little bit later. But this is like really nice quality of life situation, because that way we can both cave and have the torch on top of us. So far, I haven't seen that the torches despawn I think they're forever torches, just like in Minecraft. So you don't have a risk of just like going out on you. By the way, you can also turn it on and off, which is kind of cool. But just remember, like if you're caving, definitely have something in your offhand. You see it in the inventory is right here. So you can just like set it up. It gets a little bit getting used to, but once you got it, it works like a charm, and you can just select which one you want at a given moment. Trust me, you're gonna need it because this caves get really dark really soon. Like for example, right now, you're barely able to see anything, and this is only because this one is activated. So that's a great quality of life for Hytale. And while we're looking at the moon, a beautiful moon, we're going for tip number 4. If you open your campfire, you'll notice that you have the setup here, the hut for putting the fuel. In this case, we're going to use logs. I think it also works with sticks and similar wooden materials. But this is here, as you can see, for the fuel, the input, and the output. So we can just put some raw beef in here. We turn it on, and it's going to cook it. However, one of the interesting things is randomly, it's going to produce charcoal. I don't know if it does it by itself. It's definitely something to explore, but definitely, if you're cooking things, it's going to produce charcoal right next to it. And that way you can just like, when you have enough of the charcoal, you can just put it back in. And in a way, it feeds itself. So it's another quality of life situation that is very important in this kind of games. Is managing your time and your inventory. So tip number 5. So obviously this is a very beautiful game and it's an exploration first and foremost, at least in this stage of the game. And it has a lot of convenience type things embedded in it. Like for example, on the top part of you have the, it gives you like the markers of the map. And I have to say the map is incredible. I'm going to open it right here. This is all procedurally generated. And it's really smooth actually. So don't be afraid of visiting with whatever is marked. Actually, it marks your whichever death you had and where your bed is. Not to give a lot of spoilers, but definitely you should visit the Forgotten Temple. Not just because it's the progression of the game, but also most of the structures along the way, which you'll see reflected in the map. You see one here. These structures here contain a lot of stuff that you might find useful, including tools, materials, recipes. So be sure to explore a lot. And don't be afraid of if it's nighttime, because even though you get worse enemies, but also you get unique enemies. And this is definitely not a game that is looking out to kill you all the time. It is really, at least at the beginning, is mostly chill. And it allows you to, to take a breather. So definitely explore, venture out, and there's a lot of items there to collect. Well, tip number 6. On the subject of food, definitely, I mean, the world offers a lot of food surrounding you. There's a lot of berry bushes, such as this one, at least around spawn. Like really a lot of berries. And there's no scarcity of other things to eat. The game has many systems regarding food, which I'm sure that it will develop further. But I would have to say, like, you have to hunt, which I will get to in the next step. You have to hunt to get leather. You first get the hide, then you transform into leather. But my point is that you, unfortunately, for those who are vegetarian or vegan, this is a requirement, as far as I know. Since you have to do it anyway, we come to the point of meat. In this game, meat foods also provide status effects, which is regen, stamina. Mostly positive effects so far. But the eating has an animation and it takes time. As you can see in the bottom left corner there, you can see the stamina and the health effects. But a berry, of course, doesn't fill you up a lot. However, if you do cook meat, you receive a lot more benefits. And also the timing, I think it allows you to regain health a lot faster. Which in most scenarios, if you're in combat, definitely go for cooked meat or another recipe like skewers over just having berries. So don't just rely on berries because it might get you killed. They're quick and easy and they're everywhere, but you should really focus on the prepared foods. You actually get not one but two cook crafting. You get the campfire and you also get the bench that allows you to do more complex recipes. So the tip is definitely go for the meals, not the berries. Since we're in the subject of food, let me tell you, there's also, of course, another system that's very important, which in this case is farming. Farming is a very interesting system in this game, but most importantly, for resources, is not that intensive. You can actually, at this point in development, you can plant your food without having to water or place it next to a river. I just did it as a to try out, and as you can see, those are right next to the river, and these are definitely not. So for the time being, you don't really need a watering can or a bucket. I have to say that watering can really does make it any crops that you have, it makes it grow almost instantaneously. But just as it is, you can have a lot of crops. And there's also a system which is called Life Essence. I don't have anything with me right now, but you see it right here. Life Essence, you collect it by just harvesting stuff sometimes, or getting rid of bushes, etc. It's a little bit random. But with life essences, you get to craft life essence and sample of the food. Oh, there you get. I got some. You get to craft other stuff. In this case, like like a feed bag, or you can literally just with the life essence just craft different trees. All of this depends on the systems of the game, which you can see like every workbench has a tier system, and you slowly unlock it. But it's a very interesting and in-depth system that I'm really desperate to try. So yeah, don't suffer a lot of like finding water. As quick as you can make a hoe, just go until the plains next to you, and you can have food immediately. It's a great thing to have in this game. Tip number 8. As you can see, they really took their time in developing like amazing looking trees. And if you can see in the map, this is just the tip of the iceberg. They have all sorts of different types of trees. I'm not sure how many they have so far, but I also know that not only alive trees, like they have fire mechanics, and even burnt trees produce a different type of wood type. Sound redundant, different type of wood. Also, high quality of life that the tree just comes down directly. Trees also have a lot of roots underneath. But my tip here is like definitely if you see a wood type that you like, go ahead and have as much as you can carry with you. Why? Because precisely there's so much variety. Then eventually when you start exploring, you're not going to have that next to you. It's very unlikely. and you do need two different types of wood. There's hardwood and there's softwood, and they all have different, very different crafting recipes afterwards. So you kind of need all the wood types you can get. Not to mention that some systems are very economic. Like, I mean, not very resource intensive like farming. However, the building aspect, the crafting furniture, and just in general different buildings is really expensive. So you might as well have all the wood you're ever gonna need. Tip number 9 is regarding your spawn and beds, right? You're gonna be able to craft like a very simple bed. Actually, let me show you right here. You can toggle your crafting, by the way. You want to have I guess, a more clear HUD. But anyway, one of the first things you can craft is a crude bedroll, okay? So there you go. You got flam fiber, which is everywhere. However, the light hide is not everywhere. And this is the one you have to hunt. I recommend small animals, I think, are the ones that produce the light hide. In which case, if you're caving, they tend to be rats. So you're gonna have a bed made of rats. Not really. Like, there's also uh, like cows and boars. I think they all produce a light hide, and you do need it for your crude bedroll. Eventually, you from your workbench, you're gonna be able to craft a classic bed. But with this one will be enough, and it's very portable. You can just take it anywhere. Don't look at my house. I'm terrible building. So this is what it is. Very cozy. And in the subject of sleeping, I don't think they allow you to sleep as much as you want. You have a timer associated to it that I need to learn how it works better. But just be aware that you might be spending a lot of nights just unable to sleep. So yeah, look for smaller animals to craft your bed. And last but not least, just wanted to say there's a lot of weapons developed in this game. Like, a lot of ways to introduce to the combat. There is a very in-depth system of combat. You have at least, I think it's well, we can see it right here. Go to the bench here, and these are your primary weapons. So you have the sword, daggers, the mace, the battle axe, and the short bow. These are all, I think, I'm pretty sure they're going to introduce more eventually, because it seems like that's the path they're going to take. But a short look at combat, look, you have your regular swing. You can block with your right button in your mouse. And also, like, if you hold, you get a launch. See it this way. But as you can see on the bottom, the yellow bar is your stamina, and it does take a lot of stamina to do a launch. The other part that I think is very interesting is that if you use it a lot on an enemy, there's another bar that is gonna charge, and it's getting assigned to the bottom your keyboard. See if I can manage to block. There you go. All right, right there at the bottom right, there's a couple of icons, and there's a sword icon that when that bar is completely charged, it releases a special attack. This is the launch, but that one is much more, like, it's actually very spectacular the ways it does it. But you really have to calculate when you're gonna do it based on the rhythm of the combat, and it's a very nicely developed rhythm. There's magic also, so we'll see how that goes in their episodes. So thank you very much, guys. These have been 10 tips of early game Hytale. Hope to see you on the next one. Well, guys, bonus tip. I forgot. This is very important. So I guess it's an 11 tip video. but this is counted as a bonus. There's a very important quality of life system they have here, and it's regarding building. So in many ways, it looks like, you know, what you would do in Minecraft, etc. Right? They have vertical slabs, which is wow, awesome. But more importantly, you can select how you want the block to be placed, and it stores it. So the magic here is the letter R. If you press R, you're just gonna cycle through the possibilities, and I don't have to explain how freeing it is, right? Because you can basically, yeah, I can imagine like huge parkour courses with this. Not that I'm good at those, but this is a lot of freedom for builders, and it also, they have like a lot of roof tiles that, based on this functionality, you know, you can come up with like really creative stuff. All right, so see you on the next one. I think it's going to be just like a regular Let's Play. So hope you join me there and subscribe for more Hytale content. See you guys in the adventure.